So,
County Commissioner
We'll take
John
it.
Henry is here, and I know you mentioned this the last time you were on the air, but thanks for getting the sign fixed north of town.
oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's a good working group between a bunch of different folks. I ran out there and fixed it real quick, and I know Jason Burns was it's a different material, so it wasn't a simple. He had to figure out what we could use on it so we don't ruin the whole sign because they're brand new. So
Yeah.
once they got that worked out, it took about no time.
It kind of reminds me, too, because as mayor or county commissioner, some of the gang symbols, you see the shoes up on power lines.
Yeah.
I was at the fair Sunday or Monday, moving some stuff around or getting a trailer set. Yeah. Somebody had thrown a pair of boots.
That's the working game, so be careful.
I looked at that and I said, "Is that for real, or is that a joke of some kind?"
Yeah,
but they were some steel-toed boots that were.
Yeah, those are for real. So, yeah, those guys, they go to work all day, but when they're home,
I thought, do I want to go into this parking lot? I don't know. I got tennis shoes,
Right, exactly.
So that's great. Well, the rain, I'm sure, is much needed across the area.
Absolutely. We always will take the rain. So, we've done okay this year. Artesia seems to always get skipped, but that seems like always happens. It's weird. But we've had a little bit, but the county, obviously, anytime we can get rain on the county, we'll take it for sure. So.
Yeah. Well, I just realized I do have a brake. I got the brake plate. We're good. My mind is, I've got 15 things going on. I need to just settle down, focus on the guests, and do that. So county commissioners met yesterday?
We did. We met yesterday, yep. So pretty good meeting, pretty quick, but some interesting topics. But first one, this was, as I told you, in the last time I was here, we'd have our revenue report this meeting. So we did have that. Really, really good news. Now, as you remember, these are 2 or 3 months behind, right? So these are July numbers. So when you hear the oil and gas number, those were the oil prices that were in the $100 range. So we're seeing a lot of those come through, but our regular GRT came in at $4,481,000, which was up. Last month, it was only at $3.9 million. So we're seeing good growth in the GRT, which is really what you want to see, because that means our businesses are healthy and things are happening in both the communities as well as the county. But really, a lot of that GRT obviously would come more from the city. That's where more businesses are. So now on the oil and gas side, we had a huge jump. It's at $10,319,000 for August. In July, it was at $8.9 million. So a big jump in oil and gas. Like I said, that you're going to see that because that's where those $100. So for the next month or two, we might see some bigger numbers coming through there. And that's pretty good. What we budgeted for the year was about $60 a barrel. So even though we're really high right now, in fact, with these numbers, we're only 2-3 months into the new year. We've already captured 49% of what we thought we would capture for the entire year, which is crazy. Nobody would have thought that when we budgeted all this. Now, people can say, well, and of course at mid-year we can do budget adjustments and things like that, but I still do think that you're going to see a balance come out now, right? And that's what we talked quite a bit about yesterday. Al is the genius of helping us understand that, because that was his industry for so long, so he can help us really make better decisions. But he I think we were in the high 80s yesterday. I don't know where we closed. I didn't watch, but it's been a little more balanced. Still kind of high, but better. So I don't know that we'll move that 60 a bunch. But at mid-year we can take a look, see where we're at, and try to get that balance quite a bit more. Because it's interesting when you have overages and all that. But for us, I would rather have a balanced budget to make sure what we're capturing is and we're not holding back on anything, which we haven't held back in a really long time. So folks out there can feel assured that we are trying to spend it. We're spending a great deal of money on the roads. We've got some big projects that you and I have talked about a number of times on the radio coming up that I think we're going to have to make some decisions on quickly. So with all that revenue, we are dumping it back into the county as fast as we can, because that's taxpayer dollars, and taxpayers should benefit from what they're paying. And so we want to make sure that they see that benefit. So,
well, you mentioned the roads, because I know that's been a top priority for many years now.
Yeah.
And with Jason and the first doing the laser study, and then coming up with the priority list, and then the website and so forth.
Right.
But it seems like as hard as the county works on the roads, it's not fast enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So you probably still hear from folks that are saying, "I know you.
Sure.
Well, you say you're doing all this, but where are we at?"
Yeah.
So are you able to, the county able to stick to the timetable? I mean, is the website and the list of the roads and the reporting, is that still all in effect?
It's still all in effect. He is working hard. I told you last time that we should have that interactive map soon. It got a little delayed because it's computer stuff. I don't know. And so they're working on that website a little bit more so that it's a little easier to navigate, and for our side to make sure we're keeping it updated. So, we still might be a few weeks out from that one. But yes, he's still working off that list. And then what he's doing is if there's a road out in the county somewhere, but there's a few offshoots that we could pick up real quick, he'll pick those up while he's out there, but focus it on that main artery that might be a big piece that we're working on. So, you're right, and that's what's unfortunate is folks out there. Some folks are very patient and understanding. Other folks, if your road's not fixed, then we don't care about you. Well, that's not the case at all. I mean, there's hundreds of miles of roads out there. We're trying to catch them up. We've had a lot to do, and I really think that in the Jason's been there about 4 years, and in those 4 years, there has been a lot of work done. I mean, we've caught up on a lot of roads. Our road department is doing a great job. As you said, that's a perfect example. It's never fast enough because until your road's fixed, it's never fast enough. So we're getting to them as quick as we can, and I feel really confident in it. I think folks are going to see their roads get done sooner rather than later. Whereas if we would have stuck to our old plan of if we never would have done that survey, if we would,
Right.
we were just tackling problems as they pop up, which is not how you want to approach things. Now we're tackling them properly, and we've got a maintenance program built in so that we can go back and maintain those roads so that we don't have them crumbling and us starting all over. I mean,
Right.
It's not just fix it and forget it. It's fix it, come back to it, and so it's a constant babying of the roads to make sure that they're good to go for a long time.
Well, I'm sure Jason, he's probably not going to say, but he probably has a secret list somewhere that if the surplus comes up and the commissioners look across the different department heads, whether it's the
Yeah.
sheriff or whatever, and says, "Okay, we're going to spend X month, a percentage of this on some wish list stuff." Do you have a wish list?
Yeah.
I bet Jason can have that sucker sitting out.
Oh
on the
yeah,
counter
yeah.
in 2
I'm sure he
seconds.
does. Yeah, and he's gotten that quite a bit. I would say the last 3 years when we've had quite a bit of overage. Not the current overage we have, but before that, we were looking at 10 million, 11 million, somewhere in there on a regular basis, and 90% of that would be dumped right back into the roads department to go fix roads. So that's what has helped us really get ahead of these roads is we've had a few really good years.
Yeah.
Even when oil was low and COVID years, things like that, I think we budgeted really, really well. We didn't hold back on anything, which I was really glad to see. I mean, I know a lot of folks had to make those decisions. The county, we're very lucky in Eddy County to not have held back because the money's continued to come in, not to the level we're seeing now, but they did. But I give all that credit to our budgeting. I mean, I think between Roberta and Al and the department heads, they put a budget together that is feasible, that's works, and we've stuck to it. And
Yeah. Now you don't have to comment on this because you're an elected official, and I don't want you to get in any kind of trouble.
Okay, I appreciate it.
But it's election year,
Yeah.
and there's people running for governor. Matter of fact, I heard a rumor the governor might even be in town today.
Somebody asked me that yesterday. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
And she helped out so much with the Brinewell
Yeah.
project. Maybe the county ought to, go visit the governor today and hit her up and say, "Hey, while you're here,
Yeah.
here's some road projects that we could use some help with." you know?
Right.
I'm just throwing that out there. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I will say, if we separate the governor out because she's here, welcome, I guess. But we do have a really great working relationship with the DOT.
That's
And,
great. Yeah.
in fact, we had a meeting a couple weeks ago where we sit down we've had 2 meetings within the last couple weeks, and I think it was really good to hear that they understand why the roads down here are so important. Because if we make the good, and I think that's where some folks miss it, right? They say, well, why are we spending so much down there? They have so much money. Well, yeah, we are able to make more than most counties, but we also have to spend a lot more than most counties because all the activity is here. So they saw the need, and they understand the need of, if our roads are better, product moves better, faster, safer. And if it's moving that way, safer is the most important one out of there that I think folks are starting to realize. But if it moves better, faster, safer, what does that in turn do? Well, that makes the state more money, because if you can move product and you can move things around safer, all of a sudden it's easier for them to get things done and accomplished and moved. So I will say our relationship with that department is absolutely fantastic, and they do really come through with us on a lot of big projects. Now they are stuck because some of those projects are, you're talking
Huge.
$20-30 million projects, and so it's a little bit different of a bucket than our $5 to $7 million project, but it is good to see, and it's good to see they recognize it, and that's what you want the most, right? I mean, and that's what I wish. So as a county, we recognize that. Now let's take that, what you said earlier, let's take that to a constituent. I wish they would recognize that as well. I mean, there's not an endless surplus of money to spend, but we do everything we possibly can with every dollar we can to dump it right back into what we think is important, which is for our commission. And I would say for the last 4 to 6 years, it's roads and it's safety. So fires, it's fire trucks, it's firefighters, it's sheriff's equipment, all the stuff, and roads. I mean, that's where we have dumped
A bunch of money.
fire trucks. I should take out. That's a separate pot. But for us, it's
For the roads.
Now we have firefighters that are actually staff members. So we needed 21. We're up to 16. So there was a great report there yesterday. Joshua was saying that the live department right now is in Loving, and there was a fire somewhere out there. I don't know. Anyways, we could respond to it and put it out, and it just stuck to one room. Whereas in the past, that could have burned the whole house because the response might not have been near as fast. So you're already seeing citizens be helped because of a fully staffed, paid fire department out there in the county. We're going to have one down here really soon. So.
Okay.
You're
So-
seeing a lot of great benefits.
Yeah. So there's
somewhere.
one in Loving.
One in Loving. So there's two total. So we'll have one on the north, one in the south. Loving is up there. That's where that one will be because that's closer to the field. And then down here, we're looking at, I think it's either on Tumbleweed or on 13th out by what we have already, trying to place that station right there. So
Okay.
we'll have two in the county.
'Cause you're talking about somewhere near where the county has a road.
Yeah, the
office
road barn
right
out
now,
there.
The road barn on,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
South 13th near Tumbleweed.
Yeah,
so.
pretty close to the fairgrounds. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because that helps with insurance ratings and
Absolutely.
insurance ratings are what affect insurance premiums, which affects
Yeah.
what people have to pay for their insurance rates in
Yeah.
the future. So
And we tried to locate them in a place where we're also helpful to both cities, right? Up there, Loving needed help. Obviously, Carlsbad can always use help. Everyone can always use help. It doesn't matter. And so if we locate it there, I mean, they could help Artesia could help us. I mean, it's a good, balanced working relationship. And then that's how it works right now anyways. But
Yeah.
having another full paid staff really benefits both because they count them differently, right? A full staff member, I think, counts as one on a fire, whereas volunteers, you have to have 3 volunteers to make one full-time paid staff. So the way that I forgot on the letters, there's too many abbreviations some days, but anyways, that's how it works and that's how
Yeah.
they count it to get those insurance
Sure.
premiums and things.
And this is meant to also enhance the volunteer fire departments that are around. 'Cause there's
Absolutely.
a lot of those entities.
Yeah.
And so it's working with them and not
Oh, yeah.
not replacing any of them.
Not at all. We can't replace them. There's no way to replace volunteers. I mean, that's still the backbone of everything. What this is to help shore them up. So you would have a paid staff getting there quickly while the volunteers get to their departments, get their equipment, and get there. So it really is going to have to be, nothing really changes. I mean, we're going to still be majorly dependent on volunteer firefighters because that's the only way to get it done. But you see, just like everywhere else, volunteer numbers aren't quite as high as they used to be, and so you've got to shore those up somehow a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just a different environment. Whereas, now if they work in the oil field, they could be in Pecos today or something. So it's harder to get back.
Yeah.
It's a totally different environment that the volunteers are operating in as well. So we've got to shore that up somehow, and this was, I think, the best way to do that.
All right, we're going to take a break for news, and Eric Butler has some sports for us. We'll be back. I'm sure there was more talked about at the county commission meeting. He's got a list, so we'll be back in just a moment on Good Morning Artesia.
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo.